Hello everyone, it's Alison Ingleby here, science fiction and fantasy young adult author, and this is the fifth in my video series about my writing process, and specifically following my process as I write and produce The Shadow City, which is the first book in a new series and will be featured in the Cursed Lands box set this year. I can say it's this year because it's January now. I'm still a little bit confused about what year we're in, but Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you all had a lovely Christmas and a lovely New Year. So this week I have been focusing on getting back to writing. So I had a bit of a break over Christmas, taking some time off, seeing friends, family, that kind of thing. And I've been really focusing on trying to catch up on where I am with the actual drafting of The Shadow City. So I'm currently about 20,000 words in, so about sort of 9-10 chapters, and that's about a third of the way through the completed novel. So I'm trying to play catch up again this week, and I might do a bit more work next weekend to try and get that finished in the next couple of weeks. Of course, that is only the first draft. There is then lots of editing and other things to do to get it ready for publication. So in previous weeks, I've talked about preparation work for writing the first draft of a book, and today I want to talk about actually how I get the words down, or rather how I try to get the words down. Unlike a lot of authors who seem to be pretty quick writers, I am generally a slow writer. So if I get around 1,000 words an hour done, that's my usual pace. Occasionally, I can do faster than that. I can do a few more. A lot of the time, I don't even get that amount done. And I find that quite frustrating because I've always got a lot of pressures on my time and a lot of other things I want to do with my time. And while I really enjoy the writing process, it would be nice to be able to do it a little bit quicker and get my books produced faster. But that just seems to be how my brain works. So I have to live with that and look at different techniques to try and see how I can improve my writing speed whilst not sacrificing quality. So a couple of different strategies which I've tried to help speed up my productivity. Number one, I think, is to plan what you're going to write before you write it. And I do this to a certain extent. I always kind of have a bit of a scene outline, and I know that if I've thought about the scene in advance and I know what I'm going to write, then it does come a lot more easily, and it saves a lot of that kind of thinking through all the issues that might come in a scene. That said, I still often come up against kind of blockages and stopping points, one of which, for example, I had today. So in the part of the story I'm in at the moment, my main character Vesper is being taught how to use her new ability that she's gotten, her sort of source of power. And I was trying to think of a way to describe how her trainer would teach her to do that. And that required a bit of extra thought. It's not just like chucking words down on the page. So fortunately, I had a bit of a break in my work schedule today, went for a bit of a walk and managed to come up with something to fill that gap. So the more you can plan your scene or chapter or whatever it is in advance, the easier it is to write a lot of the time, I find. Number two, writing sprints. This is a really popular one if you're a writer. You've probably tried writing sprints before, and I have found it really successful, but there is a caveat to it. I find it successful when I'm doing it with other people. So if I'm physically in a room with some friends, or when I did NaNoWriMo, I used to go to NaNoWriMo meetups and we'd meet in a cafe and do writing sprints. And at those times, I found that I generally could up my speed a bit, not massively, but I might be able to get sort of 1,500 words done an hour rather than 1,000. So they are really useful. I find it less helpful on my own. I have tried doing writing sprints on my own, setting my timer, doing a set time, but I don't know. I think it's just I need that pressure and accountability of having other people there, and possibly a bit of a competitive streak. So if you're comparing word counts at the end of your 20-minute sprint, even though I'm always last out of all my friends, I am the slowest, but it still does give me a bit of an added incentive to keep typing and get those words down. So kind of linked to that, the third thing I've tried is an app or a game called For the Words. And this is basically a bit of a computer game for writers. You do sprints within the program. And by achieving a certain word count in a certain time, you can battle monsters and win a monster and, you know, find different things. And you go through this whole kind of computer game, which is focused on trying to get you to write and up your writing speed. Now, I've tried this for a bit, which reminded me just how long it's been since I played any kind of computer game, because I felt totally out of my depth to begin with. I think it is a good tool, and I think it could help me. The problem I've had with both of the last 2 points is that for the past year and a half, I've really struggled with repetitive strain injury in wrists. So while my preferred method of writing is to type physically into the computer, it's not very good for my arms, and particularly at the moment I'm trying to reduce the amount of typing I have to do to reduce the strain on my wrists and arms and other parts of my body, which leads me to my next process or strategy, I guess, which is dictation. Now, when I first got into dictation, again about a year and a half ago, when I started having these problems with my wrists, I'd heard about a lot of writers who'd used it to really up their productivity. So people were saying they were doing 4,000 words an hour, 5,000 words an hour, 10,000 words an hour. I was like, this is crazy. How can people possibly write that much? But if you think about it, you know, you talk at a certain speed. The speed I'm talking at now is a lot faster than the speed I would be typing my stories at. So I was determined to give dictation a go. The other reason I wanted to do it was because I wanted to be able to walk and dictate. So to take a little voice recorder out, go for a walk along the canal and get some fresh air and exercise. I love being outdoors. And if I could do that and combine it with writing, I was like, that's the ultimate productivity. Anyway, it hasn't gone quite like that. I have had an on and off relationship with Dragon over the last year. So I have tried it. I had mixed success with it, but before Christmas I invested in upgraded Dragon software, so I've now got Dragon Pro, and I've also got this new beast of a microphone, a Blue Yeti, which I was hoping that would improve the audio quality into Dragon, so my accuracy would improve, because what I found initially was that I was getting a lot of errors coming through, and it was taking me so long to edit them, and actually so much computer wrist time to edit them, that it wasn't really giving me a great benefit. And I actually found that I was slower dictating than I was typing, which was really frustrating. So I have been trying dictation this week, and it has been working a lot better for me, which is great. The accuracy is improved, and also I think it takes a while to get your brain into the process of dictating, and I'm certainly no expert on that, but I feel like I'm getting a little bit better, which is great. My final one is something that I've really only just realised about myself, and where and when I write best. So historically, I always feel like I'm more of a morning person. So I've been writing first thing in the morning. So when I get up, have my breakfast, etc., and then I sit down at my desk in my office and I try and get my writing done first thing during the day. What I have found is that a lot of the time, if I'm away from my office, whether that's in a cafe or I've gone away on a couple of kind of writing retreat weekends recently, I'm often a lot more productive in those other locations. So one of the strategies I'm going to try this year is changing location, and even if it's a different room in my house, trying to do my kind of creative writing in a different place to my business writing and my marketing and my work. And I'm hoping that will stop me getting distracted by emails and Facebook and all those kind of things, but hopefully also help get my brain in tune with the kind of more creative writing and help me get the words down faster. So obviously there's a limitation to that in terms of if I'm dictating, I need to be in the house to do that, because I can't really go to a cafe and dictate into my computer, which is a shame, but I'm going to try and mix it up, and hopefully if I can use dictation for other things than that means I can have some typing time as well to get those words down. So That's what I am trying. It's definitely a work in progress. If there are any other writers watching and you've got tips on how to increase your productivity when writing, I would love to hear them and try them out and see what you think. So please do pop them in below. Also, just to mention again, as another plug, Curselands is available to pre-order now. We're really trying to get sales on Nook, iBooks and Kobo at the moment. And if you do pre-order, you can get 15 free ebooks by going to the Curselands website, curselandsboxset.com. And I think that's all I've got to say this week. I hope you all have a great week, whether you're reading or writing or working or doing a combination of all three. And I'll be back next Monday for another episode. Goodbye.